अगर knowledge चाहिए but podcast consume नहीं करने, तो welcome to the right channel for you. It's TRS Clips. So as far as I understand, please correct me if I'm wrong. The biology says that there's hormones in your body. The hormones are released by a certain part of your body and create a certain effect inside your body. But for the hormone to create any kind of effect, and I think this is true for enzymes as well, every hormone and I think every enzyme needs to combine itself with its receptor.
Yep.
And the receptors may be present at a different location than where the hormones or enzymes are released. Now, you're saying that there's something called an anandamide receptor.
Yes.
And anandamide is probably something that's released naturally inside your body.
Yes.
But when you smoke weed or consume a THC edible, the cannabinoids, like inside the THC, are going and combining with that anandamide receptor. Am I right?
Yes.
Until this point?
Sort of, but just finish going and then
My question is, why the f*** is that receptor present in the body anyway? And what does it do in its natural state when natural anandamide is released in your body? The larger question here is that does long-term meditation leave you feeling stoned all the time?
Okay, so let's take this in 3 steps, okay? First is a hormone is a signal. So, and you're right that a hormone has no value unless it has a receptor. So the way I would describe this is, back in the day, there was a radio broadcast tower, and then there's a radio receiver. So the radio broadcast tower can be broadcasting music, but unless your radio is on, you're not going to be receiving it.
Sure.
So hormone and receptor are just like that.
Yeah.
Now, about kids, are they stoned all the time? No. Okay. So let's understand. So there's a certain amount of conditioning that happens, but if you look at a child is not, I don't know exactly what their serotonin levels are, but they're not going to be like serotonergic the way that a yogi is in some ways. If anything, children are very highly dopaminergic. So children are like, right? So they're very sensitive to fun.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where things get tricky because like the brain is complex and their brain is very different from our brain. And there's a lot of stuff that happens with conditioning. Now let's get to anandamide. So first of all, anandamide was discovered. So the anandamide is a cannabinoid receptor. That's what it is. So we have these things called endocannabinoids. So our body produces cannabinoids. We make our own cannabis-like structure. Okay? So cannabinoids are involved with everything from habit formation, which is why if you're trying to develop healthy habits and you're using any THC stuff, it's going to sabotage your efforts. And if anything is going to help you solidify bad habits. So I've just noticed that people who use marijuana, they have a lot of trouble. Like, they're kind of like, they live a stoner life, right? Oftentimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're very functional. I've had CEOs and stuff who use. But the key thing is that we have this anandamide receptor. We have endogenous cannabinoids. Endogenous cannabinoids are also involved in pain regulation, right? So why do we make this stuff? So our brain basically evolved this stuff because we need to be able to regulate pain. We want to form habits. And then what human beings do is they discover certain compounds that activate certain parts of our brain in unusual ways, right? So it's still activating. It's not creating something new, but it's like a hyperactivation. And then we feel stoned. So a couple of things here to remember. So here's what's really scary is when you use an external compound. So let me ask you this. So I know you're a workout warrior, right?
Yeah.
You have friends who work out?
Yeah.
So you may have friends who use steroids.
Yeah.
And when they use steroids, what happens to their testicles? Do you know?
Yeah.
What happens?
They turn into raisins.
Exactly, right? So this is important to understand. Our body is smart. Our body is efficient.
Oh, okay. I get where you're going with this, but go on.
No, go for it.
If you use the cannabinoid receptors too much, they'll turn into raisins.
Exactly, right? So my body measures my testosterone level. If my testosterone level is low, my body says, oh my God, testosterone is low. Let's jack up our testosterone production. We're deficient in testosterone. We need more. Scrotum, swell. No more. Now we need mangoes. We need papayas. We need watermelons. When I start giving my body external steroids, then my body says, oh my God, my steroid level is too high. Shut off. Let's turn into raisins. Okay. So one of the scary things about testosterone replacement therapy is the medical recommendation right now is that you should freeze your sperm if you get testosterone replacement therapy. Because even when testosterone replacement therapy goes away, there's a chance that your sperm production won't come back to normal. So anything that we take from the outside is our body's going to say, oh, we're getting it from out here. We no longer need to make it. So this is where you get to, what happens to a yogi? Are they stoned all the time? So when we use external support for meditation, now we get to why you shouldn't do psychedelics. If I get DMT from the outside, my brain will see that DMT, say, hey, my DMT level is really high, shut off the DMT factory.
Oof.
Okay? If I use marijuana from the outside, people who are stoners will find that their joy of life when they're not stoned goes down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And that's because there's some interesting mechanism.
It's masked as, hey, I'm going for a film. This will be more fun when I'm stoned.
Right.
Hey, I'm going for a meal. So it tastes better when I'm high.
Absolutely. And they're right. But the problem is that when you start getting marijuana from the outside, your endogenous production of marijuana goes down.
And you need that internal weed to live happily.
Yeah. And then you get to yoga and meditation, where when you meditate a lot, your endogenous cannabinoid production probably goes up. When you use certain kinds of technique, and this is what's cool about meditation, right? It's not one thing. There's Agnya Chakra sadhana, there's Tantric sadhana, there's all these different kinds of meditation techniques. Depending on which one you do, you're going to jack up your DMT or you're going to jack up your endocannabinoids.
Wow. So
Right.
You get to select the kind of drug you experience on the inside of your head because of your own biology. If you just
Not your biology, the meditation technique you use. Right? So there's a certain meditation technique that will help you feel compassion. So there's lots of studies about how hostility, if I dislike and am hostile towards other people, it accelerates the rate of my dementia. I'm more likely to develop dementia. It increases my stress levels. It decreases my mood. So if I dislike other people and I'm hostile towards other people, you may know, right? There's some people that are like personality, they're just angry all the time.
Yeah. Or adversarial.
Yeah, right? They get pissed off. They have, right? So that's the opposite of what yogis are.
Dude, this has been my biggest challenge to work out personally. I had to remove my adversarial nature. Best thing I've done for myself, but it took me 10 years.
Yeah, so it's hard, right? This is a certain way we are. So here's the really interesting thing. When you do like compassion, how did you reduce your adversarial nature?
I got adversarial thoughts and I said, no, that's just a fucking thought.
Okay, right? So you started disbelieving your thoughts. Notice what you did, right? So this is what's really interesting. Before you started disbelieving your thoughts, remember we talked about you're on the panic, anxiety, delusional kind of spectrum where you think your thoughts are facts.
Yeah.
So you started disbelieving your thoughts.
Yeah. That's why everyone should write.
Yes.
It's one of the most therapeutic
Don't type.
things.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to learn something.
If you want to slow it down even more, try writing poetry. Okay. Back to that angle of Anandamide.
Okay, yeah. So you asked our kids.
Anand in Indian language systems means happiness, joy.
Yep.
Anandamide. So is it related to joy? It is related to joy.
Yeah.
Okay, forget the usage of marijuana.
Okay.
If there's someone who's never smoked a joint or even knows about what marijuana is and is doing all the right things, is doing yoga and meditation and exercise and eating clean and being a nice person, do they have much higher activation of their own cannabinoid systems?
So generally speaking, the answer is yes. Practically, the answer is unfortunately not.
Where I'm getting at with this is, how do I switch on this internal cannabis?
That's a different question. Okay, so let's understand. It's kind of sad, but here's what I've seen.
Yeah.
It's so sad. People who are doing everything right are oftentimes suffering the most. Like sometimes people who are doing everything right, they learn to live that way because they can't afford to do things wrong.
Yeah. Gotcha. I can't afford to take risks in that.
Yeah, right. So like they're eating right because their mind isn't clean and they're doing everything right. I see this a lot with people who are trying to like get out of their depression and they start doing everything within their power to be healthy. And sometimes they are healthy, but it's sad.
Yeah.
Because they have to work so hard to stay above water. It's sad.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think the people who, and you look at people with good genetics that smoke 2 packs a day and drink and eat fried food and they're healthy until they're 90, right? So it's so sad that honestly, the people who I see who work the hardest, they oftentimes are the unluckiest and they have to live that way just in order to survive. And it's sad.
Yeah.
Now, your question about how do you cultivate endocannabinoid stuff? And I think that's where like some of these meditation techniques and things like that really do work.
So there are specific meditation techniques to do this.
I would think so.
Okay.
So I have not studied specifically meditation techniques for endocannabinoid production. But like you said, anandamide, so the person who discovered the anandamide receptor, the THC receptor, the endocannabinoid receptor, I think was an Indian guy and was familiar with spirituality. So he named it anandamide because it brings bliss. And I think that we certainly know that when you do these like yogic techniques, right, these meditative practices, at a minimum, you're going to have shutting off of the default mode network. You're going to have physiological balancing between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Your stress levels go down. You will regulate your emotions. So your brain's ability to shut off negative emotions improves.
थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग द क्लिप दोस्तों. मेरा होप यह है कि आप हर हफ्ते इसी चैनल पर लौट आओ ताकि जितने भी पॉडकास्ट हम अपलोड कर रहे हैं ना उनका सार आपको इस चैनल पर मिले.